What's up guys? In today's video we're doing a complete review and unboxing for a pretty cool e-bike that I got from the guys at DYU. It's a bike that's made for the city. We're gonna do some upgrades and see if we can't use this thing for hunting. It's a pretty cool review. Let's get after it. Welcome back to the channel guys. If you're new to the channel, really appreciate you guys taking the time to check out a man versus deer video. I post a lot of hunting videos in the style of catch, clean, cook. There's gear reviews and all kinds of stuff. If you're a fan of anything outdoors, go ahead and smack that subscribe button, turn on that notifications bell. You will not be disappointed with the other videos on this channel, I guarantee it. So a couple of weeks ago, I got a collaboration request from the guys at DYU via email. Talked back and forth with them, looked at their lineup, really kind of liked what they had, and we decided on an e-bike, so they sent me one, and it was the A1F Pro, and we're going to do a complete review, unboxing, and then I'm going to do some modifications to it and see if I can make this city bike into a hunting rig. They make mountain bikes, they make really torquey bikes with big motors, and then they make really small ones that are basically electric scooters. I got one that's right in the middle, technically for city use, but it's burly enough and it's got enough power that I think it can be used for the hunting world, and I think you guys are going to like what you see for the rest of this video. So we're not going to waste any time. We're going to jump right into it, and we're going to do the unboxing part of this video right now. So the box this thing was shipped in was actually quite small, and I would guess it to be around 50 pounds. It wasn't very big. It seemed like it was shipped really well. It had reinforcements on the outside, a lot of padding on the inside, so I don't think this thing is at risk of taking any damage while it's shipping to you. First thing I did was remove a few empty cardboard and styrofoam pieces that were there for padding, and then I opened a very small box that contained a lot of the accessories for it. This small box contained your charger, your owner's manual, it had a nylon strap in there, it had a little Swiss Army tool used for putting the bike together, it had a couple of various wrenches, just all your odds and ends you're going to need to put together and maintenance the bike. It was all in that one small box there. The bike itself was so tightly packed that I had to cut the cardboard out from around it to really get it out of there, and as you can see, it was in its folded state, which is very compact. You could easily fit that in like the back seat of a car, the bed of a truck, or like a trunk. Very compact and not very heavy at all. Everything that touched metal to metal had styrofoam on it, so like I said earlier, it was very well protected. So as far as putting the bike together and assembling it, it was very easy with no tools required. There were some levers that you had to loosen, put the parts together, and then tighten, and specifically it was like that in two areas. The handlebars, as you can see, they folded down. You put them into the upright position and lock them into place, and then the bike itself folds in half, so you unfolded it and then locked it into place, and that was basically it for the assembly besides screwing the pedals in, and you didn't need a tool to do that because the pedals were already threaded. The only other adjustment I had to make was the handlebars. They were kind of tilted downward to where I couldn't read the control modules, so I adjusted those, put the basket that it came with on, and this thing was ready to take off on. I would say the whole process, start to finish, probably took me 15 minutes. Now that we've done the unboxing part of the video, we're just going to do a broad kind of overview of all the different features, and then we will dive into some specifics, we'll get into some tests, and we'll do some modifications. But for now, let's jump into the features. So first of all, the bike sports a 350 watt motor. The battery on it is pretty powerful as well. It's a 36 volt, 7.5 amp battery. It's considered a 16-inch folding bike because the bike actually has two different places it can fold that make it very compact and easy to store. The bike is also outfitted with high-quality brake discs on the front and the back, so you can ensure that you're going to be able to stop safely. Because this bike is intended for street use, they included a very bright LED headlight on the front, and then you've got a brake light option on the back. The power module on the bike also has LED lights right on the display, so you're going to be able to see them very good during the day and even better at night. The bike is also fitted with a rear frame, and it's got some holes and some bars across it in various different areas. It's going to allow you to do some pretty cool aftermarket custom things with this bike, such as additional seating, or in my case, adding a bow holder, which I'll get to here in just a second. The bike only weighs a total of 48 pounds, so in addition to folding, it's very, very light and can easily be put in the backseat of a car or a trunk and can just be compacted for very, very easy transport. The load capacity on this bike is 265 pounds, so you don't have to be light to ride it, and for as small of a bike as it is, it's impressive that it can carry around that much weight. Using the throttle and the pedal assist, this bike is capable of reaching speeds up to 15.5 miles an hour, which is pretty speedy for as small as the bike is. So you're not going to win any speed prizes, but it is fast enough to get you to where you're going at a decent speed. For the size of the bike, it also has a very, very impressive range. If you're utilizing the full throttle mode, you're going to get somewhere in between 15 to 30 miles out of a full battery charge, just depending on the terrain type. And then if you throw the pedal assist in there with it, it bumps it up to almost 40 miles, which again is dependent a lot on the type of terrain that you're riding in. Lastly, the bike is IP54 waterproof, which just means if you get caught a little bit in the rain or you happen to run over a mud puddle, you don't have to fear. The bike should handle all of that just fine. First step to using this bike is turning it on, which you can do by pressing and holding the middle button or the mode button in the bottom of the power module. Press it and hold it and it'll come on. It'll show you your battery life, and then you can use the plus or the minus signs to take it into low, medium, or high mode. Most of the riding I did was always in the high mode. You press and hold that again to turn it off. The bike also had front and rear brakes, which were accessible from the handlebars, and there was a throttle button on the right handlebar. It almost was identical to like a four-wheeler throttle where you just utilize your thumb to make it speed up. The bike was equipped with a kickstand on the back left side, pretty self-explanatory on how to use that. And this bike was super, super adjustable, and bonus points here, you don't need tools to adjust it. You just loosen a lever, set the handlebars to your desired height, and then retighten the lever, and the seat worked the exact way. Both of them had a pretty good range on them. You could set them for like a kid's size, or they had enough reach that you could also set them for like an adult size too. As far as breaking this bike down for travel, it's relatively easy. There's a little lock nut that you loosen, there's a lever that you undo, you fold the bike in half, and then you repeat that same process for the handlebars, and you're ready to stow this away for your next adventure. You basically just reverse the process exactly to set it back up, and this whole thing can be done in under 2 minutes, super easy. To take off on this bike, all you're going to do is hold the throttle down and give it a slight push. It isn't quite torquey enough for just the throttle to work, but you can feel that throttle take over pretty quickly, and then you're off and riding. And especially if you're on level ground or going downhill, it does not take long to get to top speed. First thing I wanted to do is test out the pedal assist, which I did by tackling a big hill. I made it most of the way up the hill without having to use the pedal assist, and at the very top I started pedaling, and the pedal assist, when used in conjunction with the throttle, is not hard at all. It's basically just like moving your legs through air. It is not hard. I didn't break a sweat, and I got up that hill pretty easy. Now, the majority of my use for this bike, since I'm an outdoorsman and a hunter, is I think I'm going to use it to get to and from hunting spots. And I wanted to test out to see if it was going to cut it through some of the trails with the extra weight of my deer stand and my bow on there. So I mounted a bow holder on it. I got my deer stand on my back, put my bow on the bike, and tore off down some trails. And I gotta say, for a little bike, it handled some pretty rugged terrain, and it did so pretty easy. The bike did not have shocks, but if I was going to cross anything bumpy or big, I just made sure to stand up on the pedals, and it was definitely doable. Now, this next section of the video, I wanted to test the distance and the battery on this bike, and I made a 5-mile loop after using the bike all day, and I gotta say, it performed really, really well. Just like in some prior video clips, I had some big hills that I had to go up, and you'll see me pedaling towards the top of them. But all in all, it was very, very easy. And in this 5-mile loop, I don't think I broke a sweat, because with that pedal assist, even when you're pedaling, it is not hard to do. It's more of just moving your legs. This bike was able to maintain its top speed or close to it for most of this ride, besides maybe some of the bigger hills. And it was steady enough, even though it was a smaller bike, that I could ride it with one hand and use my other hand for filming, which I did not expect out of a bike that was that small. But it was pretty enjoyable to ride. It tackled a lot of those hills very, very well, and I was pretty impressed with what this bike had to offer. So in a nutshell, I do think this bike could be used for hunting. I do think it could be used for outdoor purposes. Is it perfect for it? No. But at that price point, I think the stuff that it lacks, you could live with for sure. I thought I would end this part of the video by telling you guys some of my favorite things about this bike. I've had it for about 2 weeks and I've really put it through the ringer, and there's a couple of things I really love and I want to share them with you. First thing is the cost. When you start talking e-bikes, it's the cost can get sky high depending on what you're wanting, but the price on this thing is very reasonable, and you get a lot of bike for a little bit of money, and I thought that value was definitely worth a mention. Second is the size of this bike, and I know in the videos it probably looks like I'm a little too big for the bike, but Dynamite comes in small packages, and I got to tell you guys, for as small as this thing is and as compact as this thing is, it is very portable, which is a huge plus. You could literally throw this in the back seat of a car, and then like if you do use it in a hunting scenario, you're going to be able to fold it up and really tuck it under some brush and hide it well. So the size I thought was a huge advantage, regardless of where you want to use this thing at. The battery life is the next thing I want to touch on. The battery life on this thing is insane. The day I shot the video and the day that I did that 5-mile loop, me and my son both rode that bike for about 2 hours prior to me shooting all of that video, and then we rode it for about another 2 hours after the fact and still had plenty of battery to spare. So in my opinion, even in an outdoor setting, you're going to get a full day's worth of use out of this bike with no worries out of one charge. I thought that was worth a mention. The pedal assist was another feature that I thought was worth mentioning. There isn't any fancy buttons you have to hit. You just start pedaling and you can feel it kick in. You don't have to pedal hard either. I went up some gnarly hills that the throttle would not get up on its own, and never once did I break a sweat going up a hill. It's just a really steady pedal, and it's very light, like the high gear on a mountain bike. It doesn't strain your legs, but it does add just enough to that throttle to get up any hill that I came across. Thought that was worth a mention. The adjustability on this thing was pretty cool as well. The seat and the handlebars I could put high enough that they were comfortable for me, but I could also lower them far enough that my 8-year-old boy could ride this bike and have an absolute blast on it. And lastly, and this is something small, but it was something big to me and to a lot of people who may be watching this video, is the rack on the back tire and the little holes and bars they have going across. It allowed me to put a bow mount on there, but I could have put a seat on there for a second person. I could have just done a number of different things with it. I could have put a basket on it for storage. It's a nice big sturdy flat rack, and it adds a lot of versatility to that bike, just depending on what you may want to use yours for. Definitely worth a mention, super solid addition. Well, that is going to bring us to the end of this video. If you guys liked this e-bike enough that you maybe want to get one for yourself, there's going to be a purchase link in the description and in the comments. You can check either one of those places and get your fix there. There's also going to be other links to other gear I use and a merch store. Any of those clicks and purchases do help me out. I hope that through watching this video, it made you want to come back and watch another Man vs. Deer video, and it is also my hope that you would subscribe to the channel. I very much appreciate that. If you had any questions about the video or about the bikes at all, drop it in the comment, guys. I do talk to you. I do answer those questions. I really want to thank you for taking time out of your day to watch a Man vs. Deer video. I want to wish you good luck next time you're in the woods, and God bless. Get out there and hunt, guys.